In last week's video, I talked about the post-narcissistic abuse struggle of having to start over again. The ancient Greek word arche is a word that best describes this oppressive starting point. You must face the emptiness, look into the void, and start to create something new out of it. But there's a second struggle, one that threatens to keep you stuck, questioning whether or not you have the ability, the resources, or the tools to move forward. This struggle lives inside of you. It's the voice of opposition telling you that you're not good enough, that you're not strong enough, and that you are not capable. But where did it come from? What is it? And how do you make it stop? There's an ancient Greek word for this as well. The ancient Greek word is exousia, which means influence, out from, delegated empowerment, or authorization. In order to understand this authority of delegation coming out of narcissistic abuse, we need to recall the insults, the slander, the blaming, every demeaning, devaluing word you experienced being with the narcissist.
You'll hear a lot of people talking about projection, how the narcissist projects onto you all of their own feelings of inadequacies, hopelessness, anger, hatred, being the bad person. And it's true, narcissists do project all of these things onto you during the relationship and throughout the toxic relationship. But it's no longer projection that you're struggling with. If you have these same feelings inside of your mind and inside of your body, long after you've gone no contact, and you've left the toxic environment, and you're working to rebuild a new life, it's no longer projection that you're struggling with because there's no projector around. It's no longer projection because projection doesn't stay with you. But do you know what does? A delegation of authority, an assigned role, a transference of power. This is exousia. And now, you can probably recall at some point during the toxic relationship a particular moment of narcissistic rage where you were attacked for no reason whatsoever. You were falsely accused, falsely blamed. And these things happen all throughout the toxic relationship, but this one time stands out because it seemed as though something jumped inside of you from out of the narcissist. And you have been wrestling and struggling with this tormenting entity ever since. You've used all of your empathic capabilities to try to figure out what is this that you struggle with that weighs you down even when the narcissist is no longer in sight. What is this? Is it a spirit? Is it a demon? Well, that moment that we're talking about, that episode of narcissistic rage, was the moment of the transference of power. That was the moment of delegation. That was the moment where the narcissist handed their feelings of inadequacies and rejection that they have been struggling with all their life, and they attempted to hand it over to you, saying, I don't want these things anymore, you take responsibility for them. And by being involved with the narcissist, you subconsciously, unwillingly, accepted the delegation. And you've been struggling with it ever since. And now, following the constant delegation, the constant transference, the assigning of the role over your life of being the mean, toxic, hopeless individual, accompanying that comes the gossip, the smear campaign. This is as if the narcissist is making the announcement through mass email. Let's all welcome Susie so-and-so, who has now been handed over the responsibility of being the mean, toxic person. So-and-so has been given the delegated responsibility.
The longer you stayed in that toxic environment, that toxic family, that workplace, and that relationship, the more of that delegated role you started to accept subconsciously. And now, as a result, you still feel inadequate and unable to build your own new life. There's only one way to beat this struggle, and that is to understand that you were already chosen and delegated before you were even born. You have been given a birthright, a delegation in life of authority and of power. You have already been delegated into a family, and I'm not talking about your mom or your dad or your brothers or your sisters. You belong to a much greater family that expands beyond this temporary place. And you get to live from that place of delegation, from that place beneath the flesh. Your parents won't tell you this. Your boss won't tell you this. And the devil doesn't want you to know. Realize that you have a role in a much bigger family. Realize that you settled for less in the toxic relationship. Realize that anyone and anything can attempt to delegate a role in your life. But the only delegation that has authority in your life is the delegation that you ultimately accept. Therefore, accept the delegation of the Most High, who created you to be a valued member of a body that shines like a lamp on a hill. Welcome to the Royal We. Stay tuned for next week's video as I wrap up this series on post-narcissistic abuse struggle with the third and final struggle and how to beat it. If you are new to the Royal We, I encourage you to check out the live stream every Monday night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can find the link in the description box. Join me and the Mod Squad for one-on-one phone conversations and topics related to narcissistic abuse. And if you are new to the Royal We, be sure to hit the like and subscribe, and we'll be back with more videos right here on the Royal We.